Good morning, ladies. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah, coming live to you on Tuesday, September 12 with our Technique Tuesday class. Super excited to share this class with you because today we are going to be working with the Irresistibles cardstock and also our blending brushes. Mel's joining us. Hi, Mel. How are you? Are you working from home? You've got your moon boot on. Oh, I'm thinking of you. I hope you heal really quickly from your injury, you poor love. We miss you at Scrapbooking. Hope to see you back here again soon when you are up and about. Okay, so let's check out our Irresistibles cardstock and our blending brushes. This week's pattern is pattern 8 from the Make It From Your Heart Volume 3 book. So this book is still available on my website. And if you are familiar with my weekly scrapbooking challenges, you will know that we've started at the beginning of this book. Oh, actually, no, sorry. Pattern 8's what we're doing next week. I'm getting ready to do that pattern today. This pattern that I'm showing you today is pattern 7, which is on page 18 of your Make It From Your Heart book. You girls just got a sneak peek of what we're going to be doing next week. So pattern 7 from the Make It From Your Heart Volume 3 book. As I was saying, this book is still available on my website. We have started at the beginning of the book and we are making our way through all of the patterns. I really love the simplicity of the layouts of this book, and it's really easy for me to add the cutting instructions and the assembly instructions as text in the comments when I post our challenge each week. So I'm going to be teaching you about the Irresistibles cardstock and the blending brushes. Good morning, Karen. How are you? Thanks for joining us live this morning. So with the Irresistibles cardstock, girls, the Irresistibles cardstock is this pattern paper that you can see here. I've actually used my Harbour ink pad to blend the ink onto this paper. The thing I love about this cardstock is we have 40 different ink colours in our range, in our Close to My Heart catalogue. We've had a new catalogue that's just launched on September 1st. And all of our ink colours you'll find on pages 14 and 15. I have used the Harbour ink pad to do the blending today. So you've got 40 different colours there, so you can pretty much turn any of these patterns into whichever paper you desire with the Irresistibles cardstock. Now, the pack that I'm sharing with you today was actually our pack from our last catalogue. So you can see the waxy pattern on the cardstock there. That's what it looks like before, and then you can see that this is what it looks like after once you do the blending with your ink pads. So the Irresistibles cardstock pack I'm showing here to you now, you actually get 12 sheets in the pack. You get 2 of different patterns. So that's the crisscross pattern and a dot pattern. There's some stars here. Actually, no, you get more than that. 2, 4, 6, 8, no, 12. It is 12. You've got this grid pattern, racing car grid pattern. That would be great for Formula 1 layouts. You've got this stripe pattern, and then you've got this floral pattern. Now, this pack here that I'm sharing with you today is not in the current catalogue. This was the Irresistibles cardstock pack that we had last year. I had never actually purchased it and used it. So if you were at my VIP catalogue launch event on September 1st, you will know that I paid a visit to our home office in Salt Lake City on June 23, and we actually did an Irresistibles cardstock workshop for the day, which was so cool. And they gave me a sneak peek of the new cardstock that we've got coming, that we have now in our catalogue. So the new Irresistibles cardstock is on page 29 of your catalogue. You get 12 white sheets to each of the single-sided resist pattern. They're 12 by 12. And then, as I was saying, your patterns will show through with your ink colour once you add the ink to the cardstock. So we worked with the new Irresistibles cardstock back in June. We got a sneak peek of that. I've used the older pattern here on my workshop guide because if you were at my VIP catalogue launch, you saw the new pack and we never did anything with the older pack. So I wanted to share that with you today so you've got some ideas of different varieties of pattern paper that you could incorporate into your scrapbooking layouts. Now, this pack is still available for sale. It is on the retiring list because it was in last year's catalogue. So once we finish selling out of that, you won't be able to order that anymore, but you can still get that Irresistibles cardstock, and I will pop links to both of the cardstock packs in the comments after our Technique Tuesday video. Sonia has joined us. Sonia's having an early lunch. Good for you, Miss Sonia. Okay, so with the new Irresistibles cardstock, we've got a leaf pattern there. We've got a love heart pattern. We've got a little confetti pattern. This reminds me of the, actually it's more like sprinkles, the sprinkles pattern. Sprinkles like you put on your cupcakes. We've got a crisscross pattern, we've got a striped pattern, and then also a floral pattern. So you can see that I've already used some of those cardstocks in some scrapbooking layouts, and you'll be seeing more of those as we go through the year. If you were at my VIP catalogue launch, I had them out on display. So to do your blending, you need your blending brushes. Now, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a tech class on the blending brushes. These come in a 3-pack, as you can see. They're $29 for 3 brushes. And if you are going to get into the blending with the blending brushes, then having 3 packs is going to be ample to then use all of the ink colours that we have in the range. You do not need to have 1 blending brush per ink colour. Like, that is just crazy. So a really good tip for you is 3 packs will be ample. And then what you're going to do is you're going to separate those brushes into our colour pattern. Okay, so starting with your reds and your pinks and your purples. So you've got 1 brush for red, 1 for your pinks, 1 for your purples. One's for blues, greens, and yellows. And then another set for the oranges, the browns, and then the grey black. You can see I haven't even used one of them there. Now, the great thing with the blending brushes, girls, so these are on page 35 of your catalogue. Once you've got your blending brushes, you can use them again and again and again. So you might recall that we had some other mini ink blending tools in the range. You had to keep buying more foam pads to use with that particular tool. And so the great thing about the blending brushes is you can actually wash these out. You can rinse them out. So you can see I've done that with some of these ones, but these are the ones I'm going to be using today. So I haven't done that. I will wash that after I finish demonstrating them. You can just run them under warm water, just under your tap, just plain warm water. I did put a post up some time ago in our Facebook group with a whole heap of tips on blending brushes. So I'm going to go back and find that post and copy and paste it and put that again in the comment section of this video today. So you can wash your blending brushes, you can reuse them again and again. And what I do once I have washed them is I actually just leave them face down, literally here on this desk here in front of my window, in front of the sun here, so in light. So you just are making sure that you're not having them sitting like this. You want them face down so you don't get water pooling in the base of your blending brushes. So they're a really beautiful, soft bristled, ergonomic brush. They're close to my heart branded as well, which is great. So this is a product that we're going to be keeping and you will be having lots of fun using. The other thing I love about the blending brushes and that you'll love for your crafting projects is it doesn't matter if you're going to be doing blending with the cardstock, if you're going to be using it with the stencils. The blending brushes are a great tool to use across a variety of your paper crafting projects. So your scrapbooking, you can see here there's some samples in the catalogue where they've used the stencils and they've done the blending with the stencils on plain cardstock there to make those cards. So you've really got some great versatility there with the blending brushes. Okay, so I am going to take this blending brush out of my pack because this is the one I used for the Harbour ink. Now, really important, before you do your blending, girls, you want to pop your all-purpose mat down. So your all-purpose mat is in your core catalogue. This is on page 43. The all-purpose mat is $44. It's a non-stick mat and it wipes really easily to clean it once you finish your blending. And then one side is non-slip underneath. It's also heat resistant. So if you've got an embossing, a heat gun, and you're using that for any embossing features, then that will be really handy to have. So you want to have it, you can see, I can feel that this is like tacky. You want to have it down, you pop your mat down on your sticky side, and what that does is it holds your all-purpose mat in place on your workspace. The other thing you are going to want to have with your blending brushes is some scratch paper, so you can actually tap off the excess ink before you do the blending on the Irresistibles cardstock. So the reason for that being is that some of the colours blend better than others, and I find that if I don't tap off that excess ink first and I go straight onto the cardstock, then you get that first kind of blend, or that first press onto the cardstock is very noticeable. It's quite thick and heavy, and then you don't end up with like a sort of consistent pattern or consistent depth of the ink, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So with your ink pads, they're magnetic. They are a water-based dye ink, so don't stress if you're getting it on your fingers. It will wash off, and that's why they wash out of this blending brush really well. And your inks are acid-free as well, okay? So important to note with your scrapbooking. So I've got some of the Irresistibles cardstock. This is what I've got left over from the layout that I've done here, and I'm just going to demonstrate the blending brush here for you today. So we've got our brush, we're just dabbing that in the ink, I'm getting that first tap off, and then I'm just blending that over. Now this is why you want your all-purpose mat down on your workspace first, because you can see that I'm going off the edges. Now I don't want you to worry as you are blending. See how it looks a little bit it doesn't look very smooth and blended. Wait till you see the magic. Oh, I almost didn't tap off. Think of it like catching the tram, girls. You tap on, tap off. Well, we don't tap off here, but you do if you're in London on the tube, and in Melbourne, you've got to tap on and tap off. So think of that first, tap that down beforehand. Now, you can see that some areas are going to be thicker than others, and that's okay, right? So I don't want you to stress too much about that. And it doesn't look very smooth at the moment, but it will when we wipe off the excess ink over the resist pattern. So you're going to want to have some tissues handy for that tip, because that is literally all you're going to use. You can see that I'm going off the edges of the Irresistibles cardstock there. So you girls are going to have lots of fun to play with this. Now, I did comment in a post this morning to Sonia. I've got a lot of you waiting on the blending brushes. They are currently out of stock at the moment. We do have more stock of the blending brushes coming in this month in September. So please be assured that I'm keeping an eye on that non-availability product list. And as soon as those blending brushes come back in stock, I'll be ordering them for you. Now, if you are booked in for my workshops this weekend, I already have your Irresistibles cardstock. If you pre-ordered that with me, I have that already for you. So you can use my blending brushes this weekend if you want to have a play. Okay, so now, I mean, you can keep going with the blending if you want. It depends how thick you want it to be, girls. It's really a personal preference, but I think that's looking pretty good. So this is where the magic is going to happen. Now, don't be too alarmed. You can see here that I've gone off the edges of my all-purpose mat, and I'm going to end up with maybe a little bit of ink on the back of my paper. Don't be too alarmed about that. It's not going to transfer onto your photos. You're going to stick that down anyway. This is where the magic happens. So you're just going to grab a tissue. This can take a little bit of work, because what you're going to do now, And it also depends on the pattern. So what I did was I made sure that I actually followed the lines of the resist on my cardstock, all right? So look at that already. I'm just going to get that close up there. Look at that already. You can see where the resist pattern, the ink has come off the resist pattern, but it stayed on the cardstock that doesn't have the resist part. And all you're going to do with your tissue is you are going to rub that over, and you can see that excess ink is coming off my tissue there. And you are just going to follow the pattern. So you're going to have different patterns, obviously, for the Irresistibles cardstock girls. So some of the patterns, like the little confetti one or the sprinkles one, you're going to probably go around in a circular motion like that, which you can see I'm doing it here and it's working. But I actually made sure that I was just following through with the lines to make sure I was getting all of that off. Can you see the difference here? So don't be alarmed when you look at it and you go, oh, that doesn't look so great. Look at the difference there. Now I'm taking that ink off the resist section of my pattern. Now, you've got a couple of options when you're using the Irresistibles cardstock girls. You can pre-cut your cardstock down. So, for example, when I did this layout, I actually pre-cut my cardstock down first, and then I inked over the top of it. So I needed 1/2 inch here, and I can't remember how much it was, maybe 3 1/4 inches. You can pre-cut your cardstock to the size that you need, and then ink it up would probably be my suggestion. This is what I had left over from that sheet that I cut to do the layout I just shared with you. So, you know, you could cover the whole 12 inch, but if you don't need it to be all of the one color, I think you're probably better off, and it's going to be more economical and paper saving for you to cut your cardstock down first and then ink it up. The 1/2 inches was a little tricky to keep in place. So what I did with that, rather than going in a circular motion, was just went back and forth, all right? And it's just trial and error. It's just a matter of having a play around with it and seeing what feels best for you, depending on the ink that you're using and the size of the paper, okay? So the technique itself is pretty simple, right? How cool is that, guys? Yeah? Doesn't that look awesome? What do you girls think? I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So, and then obviously you would put that on your scrapbooking layout. You can see I've done this one. It looks a little bit darker. Now, why did I choose that beautiful Harbour ink colour? I'm just going to remove this mat because there's ink on the bottom of this now. A little tip for you for cleaning your all-purpose mat, girls. You can get your excess ink off with the tissue that you've used there for the blending. You can see there's still some ink on there. So what I'm going to do, oh, I've got a little bit of water in my water brush here. I'm just going to pop a little bit of water on there. I was going to say you can go and wet your tissue and see how that's just coming off just beautifully. So don't be too alarmed with the ink, girls. You can wipe it with a little bit of water off your all-purpose mat. And then we're going to set that aside because I want this space back again to share with you. Just going to peel that off my base there. Pop that aside. Okay. So the reason I chose the older paper to do this layout for my photos was I wanted you to see the difference for a start in the cardstock that you've got access to. And I really loved this crisscross pattern. Can you see the blue in the shutters and the shades and the painting of my grandparents' house? So these photos, girls, we have used the Good Life paper collection. So the Good Life paper collection is our featured kit for September. So when it came to picking which ink I was going to use for my Irresistibles cardstock, all I had to do was come to the Good Life paper collection. And at the top here, every month when we feature our monthly paper collection, you will see what the featured colours are or the coordinating colours for that collection. We've got Mist, Harbour, and then we've got some of our browns here, Mocha, Espresso, Toffee. So I used the Harbour because I thought that blue, but you can see I've pressed quite hard. So again, it's just going to depend on your your depth of your ink there, whether you keep blending over and over. So you can build that color up, which looks really great if you want that darker effect. But I didn't want to go too dark because I wanted to bring up the blue in my grandparents' house here. So I chose these photos for my scrapbooking layout this week, ladies. This was the story behind the photos. This was my grandparents' home. They built this in the 1950s. My grandfather actually helped to build this house, and they lived in this home right up until my grandmother passed away in 2018. And we actually went back to Broken Hill for her funeral. And while we were there, we visited the house, obviously. And I took some photos of the front of the house and her garden. I never even knew this existed. These are our initials that are etched from 1980 into the cement. My grandfather would have done that. And then when he passed away, I'm assuming this was my father that put my papa's nickname, Bob, into the cement here in the back garden. So they are etched there. The house then went on the market, and I'm going to show you something really, really cool. So these are photos I actually took myself, but after my grandmother passed away, the house went onto the market. This is going to get a little bit of reflection from the light, girls. I'm sorry. The house went on the market, and then obviously the agent's gone through and taken their own photos for marketing and sales purpose. And when the house went on the market, I actually went onto the agent's website and I went through their marketing images and I just saved all the images to my camera roll. And can I tell you, girls, I would never in a million years have got these photos. I mean, I have photos of myself as a grandchild in my grandparents' home when I was little, like in the late 70s, early 80s, and whenever we kind of went back to visit through the 80s and early 90s. But I never had photos like this of the inside of my grandparents' house. And can I just tell you, from a scrapbooking, storytelling, family history perspective, I just feel so blessed to have these. And then so obviously I've printed them. Much of the house was very much the original of when I was a child. So I had these extra landscape photos that I wanted to get in. So why I'm sharing this with you is that with your scrapbooking, you can have this as your base page. And then you can see here there was room only for, it was meant to be 5 photos. There would have been a journaling box there. And this is where it's really great when you're working with your patterns. You can see here that they had journaling boxes where that last photo is going to be. You don't have to stick to the pattern exactly. You can change the orientation of your photos and you can move things around. Like you could have popped your photo there and had your journal box there. The pattern is really just to give you the base of having something to work on. So I put a photo here because I knew I had these extra landscape photos. I'm going to sit this in between as a page in my album. So the ones of the garden are on the base page, and then the rest of the landscape ones here that I really couldn't cut down for this particular layout are sitting in this memory protector here. Now, these memory protectors, girls, are fantastic if you've got extra photos that you want to get into your layouts. So in your core catalogue on page 49, you've got the normal size memory protectors that we slide our completed layouts into, but then you've got these pocket scrapbooking sleeves as well. Now, we have condensed the range down quite a bit with the launch of this new catalogue. So the landscape sleeve is the only one that we have left now in the catalogue. However, some of the other size memory protectors are still available for sale on my website. So I will post a link to those in the comments. We used to have like 5 or 6 different packs, and the thing I loved about them is that you could get such a variety of different photos, but they are not huge sellers. So the company's made the decision to condense it down just to this size. All right. So if you've got portrait photos that you want to get on, then my suggestion is to create a collage and have 2 portrait size photos on a 4x6 inch landscape. So you can create the collage in your own phone, in your Photos app if you have an Android. If you have an iPhone, there's some collage apps that you can download like Pic Collage, and you can actually put 2 portrait photos into a landscape, and then you print that as a landscape photo at Harvey Norman or wherever you print your photos, and then you're going to slide that into your layout there. So I've got my extra landscape photos here. I've made a journaling box. So I've just cut my cardstock down at 4 by 6 inches. I've used the Harbour cardstock there to coordinate. I've used the stamp set. This is the Scrapbooking, the Good Life Scrapbooking stamp set and thin cut. And you can see, I don't know if anyone's picked up, but I actually added the fences after I posted the original layout and then I edited the photo. So what I've done here is I've stamped this fence stamp onto some toffee cardstock with toffee ink, and then I've used the coordinating thin cut from that set to be able to cut my fence. So if you've got lots of photos of outback, bushwalking, country, farm, barn, any of that sort of, ranch, if you've got lots of outback, outdoors photos, then this stamp set and thin cut is one that you'll probably use a lot. You've got some titles and sentiments here. The stamps that have got the black line around them indicate what coordinates with a metal die with the thin cut. And if you look at the front of your stamp set, any of the stamps that are coloured blue indicate that they coordinate with a matching die cut. So they are in your seasonal catalogue on page 9. In your catalogue, you can buy the stamp set just on its own for $35.50, and then you could fussy cut the stamps if you don't have a die cutting or embossing machine. Or if you do, you can get the stamp set with the coordinating thin cuts for $65, and then you would stamp your image onto your cardstock, and then you put the coordinating die over the top and you run that through the embossing machine, and that's how I've cut the fences out. I've actually popped my fences up with some 3D foam tape, and I've just put them over the top of where the half-inch strip of paper and my Irresistibles cardstock meet. So love, love, love. When I made the journaling box, I've stamped the word stories here. I knew I was going to have a lot of journaling with this, and the reason being is that I'm never going to return to this house again. But it was obviously a really big part of my childhood growing up. And I mean, I'm sure you have your own memories of your family homes or your childhood homes or your grandparents' homes that you've spent time in as a child. And so if you've got those photos, get them out. And the second I got those photos out, girls, it just started bringing back so many memories and stories. And I really wanted to make sure I got them down. And I'm really creating that legacy to leave for my kids as well. So I've stamped the word stories. I've ruled my own lines. So this is cut at 4 by 6 inches. And then the French vanilla is cut at 3 3/4 by 5 3/4 inches. I had to think about that for a second. So you're really just taking 1/4 of an inch off the left and the right hand side. And then I have used my T-square ruler to rule those lines, and my sepia pen. When I do my journaling lines, I like to rule them at 1/4 of an inch. So I sit this cardstock over the top of my Versamat, and I get that 1/4 of an inch perfect each time. So I've done a journal box on that side there. You're then going to flip that over. That's going to sit in the album, like so. Sorry, girls, it's going to sit in the album like so. And then you can see I've made another journaling box here. So I've backed up my journaling boxes to each other. I've stuck them back to back. And then again, put the other little fence die cut here, stamp the word stories, and I've written the stories there. Now, I had 10 landscape photos, and this pocket has room for 12 landscape photos. So this is why I've made a journaling box for that side, and I made a journaling box for this side here. But I had this dilemma in that I had these 2 portrait photos left over as well that I really wanted to get on the page, because this beautiful peacock artwork that my grandmother had, and then she had this butterfly that sat by the front door as well. So I just have the fondest childhood memories of arriving at her house and seeing this beautiful artwork. So I really wanted to incorporate this into my layout. So how I've done that is I've used a flip flap here. Okay. Now, this particular size flip flap, ladies, is a 6 by 12 inch flip flap. It has retired, so you cannot get the flip flap in this size anymore. But I want you to know that in your catalogue, where your flip flaps are on page 51, you still have several different sizes of flip flaps. I've used the 6 by 12 inch because it was all I had available. The alternative size is the 8 by 12 inch. We retired the 6 by 12 because they weren't as popular as the 8 by 12. And we've kept the 8x12 because this size suits our market more for larger school size class photos, certificates, memorabilia, which is the closest to a A4 size for us in our market. So I've used the 6x12 inch flip flap here. As I said, you can't get them anymore, so your alternative would be the 8x12. And what I've done here is I've cut some mist cardstock to match my journal box. I've cut this at 6x12 inches, so it fits the size of my flip flap perfectly. I've used the leftover stickers from my Good Life sticker pack. I've put the 2 portrait photos here. I wanted to create a mat here, so I've just taken 1/4 inch off the top of both of these photos so they could fit on here perfectly, and I had a nice mat around there. And you are going to freak out when you see this. The back I made into a journaling box, and what I did here was I stamped the word memories from the Good Life Scrapbooking stamp set. I've stamped the word memories at the top here. This is the other sticker. So I've put one on that side and one on that side, left over from my sticker sheet. I've stamped the word memories. This is cut at 6x12 inch, and then I cut down some French vanilla cardstock. I've ruled my journal lines at 1/4 inch. Stamp the word memories, and these are all of just the memories. The second I started looking through these photos, all the memories I had that popped up in my mind, much like what I taught those of you that did the Story by Stacey storytelling class with me. I talk a lot about accessing that attic, that box of memories that we have in our mind, that when we look at photos, it takes us back to a moment in time and it helps us to remember those stories. And I thought, I have to get these stories down now because my grandparents are not alive anymore to tell me those stories, right? So I have to get those stories down now before I get to a point where I don't remember them either. And then I have randomly, in no particular order, journaled those memories that I had. And to break the journaling up, you can see that I've got little dots here using the Harbour ink. I've used the Story by Stacey, one of her storytelling stamp sets, and it's this little dot just here. This stamp set is still available, colourful texture. It's part of the Story by Stacey range. And I've journaled my memory and then I've finished it with a dot, so then the reader knows that it's going into basically a new memory. It's not like one big long story there together. Now, a little tip for you girls, when you're putting your flip flaps, you can see here that I've got my paper into the back there like so. A little tip when you are putting your flip flaps onto your memory protector, if it's going onto just a normal size memory protector, you know, you would stick your flip flap pretty much on the outside or the inside of your memory protector. But in this case, I had a pocket memory protector. And with your memory protectors, your pocket ones, all your photos are going to insert onto the front of the memory protector. How you know that is the front, the open bits at the front, and then the Close to My Heart logo is going to be face up for you. That's how you know that that's the front of your memory protector, right? And you can get your photos in and out really easily. A great tip when I'm using this is I actually stick my photos back to back. I don't put them loose in the pockets because when people are going through the albums and they're turning the pages, the photos are going to slide around a little bit. So I like to stick my photos back to back, and that keeps them more securely in place. So if you're going to use a flip flap on a memory protector, you want to stick your flip flap onto the back because there is no open pocket here for your 4x6 inch. It is flat. The open pocket's at the front. There's no open pocket here. So if I was to stick that on the top where the open pocket is, I'm not going to be able to move my photos in and out, which you're not going to really do anyway, but I would be covering the access point of my photos if I was to stick that flip flap over the front. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. But I'm sure you guys get what I mean. You can see that the adhesive strip is actually on the back of this flip flap, and I've put my 6x12 inch there. And the other thing you want to think about when you're putting your flip flap on, if I had put my flip flap here and opened it out back that way, it's going to hit the D-ring side, the middle of my album. And so it's not as easy to read had I flipped it back this way, and then now this is lying flat. If I'd flipped it back the other way, it'd be sitting against my D-ring here. It wouldn't be lying flat. So that's the other thing I like to envision, the practicality of it and what it's going to look like when it's in my album and as I go back and read through that. So I hope that's given you some good tips for using your flip flaps, girls. In terms of your embellishments, I'm just going to quickly run through those with you on your page. In terms of your embellishments here, I've used the Journey dots. Now, Journey, do you love the coordinating nail polish, girls? It looks very good. Journey was not a coordinating colour with this particular paper collection, but when I put some other colour dots on there, it just wasn't doing it for me. So I did use the Journey dots just to embellish here, the little embellish clusters here at the top and the bottom here. So we've got lots of different colour dots for you to use, which helps with your embellishing. They're on page 21, and you get 2 sheets of dots in one pack for $11. I've already gone through quite a lot of those. And a little tip for your embellishments, I've been asked to talk a little bit about this, is when you cluster your embellishments together, you can use a coordination of stickers, die cuts. I tend to group my clusters together where the eye is going to draw. So you can see I've got a 3-point axis here. So as the person's looking through my album, they're going to start here. Their eye will automatically draw from left to right. And you can see by putting your clusters in a triangle like that, that it's actually just nice and free flowing. So a sticker with some 3D foam tape, a sticker flat underneath that. And then I've used these wood grain die cut shapes. So these are new, girls, the wood grain die cut shapes. You can get a pack of the wood grain shapes and also the titles in your catalogue. These are really generic. They're great. I've actually got a pack of these as well. I'm going to do something with these. These are great for titles. If you don't like stamping, you don't have an embossing machine, then having the wood grain titles already cut out for you is fantastic. And the wood grain one, I love these because they're flat, right? There's no lumpy bumpy in my album. They're going to sit flat. Whereas all these acrylic shapes, they're beautiful, but they're bumpy, they're thick, right? So I don't mind using them from time to time, but I don't like them a whole lot in my album because they make them super lumpy. So I've used the wood grain die cuts here and then the Journey dots. And you're just clustering your clusters together, pop some up with 3D foam tapes, put your little wood grain shapes and stickers underneath, and then your dots look good. You've got a medium, a large, and a small one there, again, in a little triangular motion. And then I've done it on this layout here as well. A little leftover sticker I've stamped, love this, underneath that before I put my sticker over the top. And that Love Me stamp was in the Good Life Scrapbooking stamp set and thin cuts. I've just popped a sticker over the top with some 3D foam tape, wood grain die cut, and a couple of Journey dots. So I really love how that layout's turned out, and I'm really glad that I took that extra time to do the journaling in my album the journaling in my memory protector before I put this in my album. And now it's done. I don't have to, it's just literally done, and I love that. In terms of using the die cut, girls, you will be excited to know, for those of you that come to my workshop, I have finally invested in the new die cutting and embossing machine. This is the Close to My Heart branding one. So this baby retails for $264. It is a big investment in your crafting, but the thing that I love about this is that it's a one-time purchase. It comes with all 3 of these mats. So you get the cutting mat, the platform, and the adapter. If you like the magnetic sheet that you can put your die cuts on, that is retiring. It's still available for stock on my website. So my suggestion would be to get that before it sells out, because there's no magnetic cutting sheet moving forward. I know that the die cutting and embossing machine is a big investment, so don't forget that I do offer an afterpay option in store where you can get your die cutting and embossing machine. I do have a minimum $300 spend, but the shipping for this machine alone is $41.50 because of the weight of it, okay? So you can order that with me directly, the machine plus your shipping, pop it on Afterpay, and that will just help to break it up a little bit if you need some flexibility there. Or you can, of course, order outright, whatever works best for you. So I hope you've enjoyed today's Technique Tuesday, girls. I've stamped the Homegrown Memories title up the top there as well. I forgot to mention that. I'm so sorry. Homegrown Memories is in the Good Life Scrapbooking stamp set. I hope you've enjoyed today's Technique Tuesday class, girls, and you've got some great tips there on how to use the Irresistibles cardstock and your blending brushes, how to use the memory protectors and flip flaps in your albums, and how to get some tips with embellishing your clusters as well. Some extra little tips there for you today on top of the blending brushes and the Irresistibles cardstock. Have a great week, everyone. I can't wait to see what you create with your layout this week. Thanks for watching.